y'all hear us? And you could also ask them if you want as well. All right. Yeah, so we're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, and Odyssey. Okay, let me just pop this open. All right. Yeah, so you can hear me, Daniel? Hello?
That's great.
Yeah, yeah, the audio is cutting off on you. I don't know what's going on. Hey guys, so we yeah, so we had technical difficulties. The Skype, he couldn't log in for some reason. I think it's his a backup computer. You're saying it was your Linux computer that the police raid literally stole your phone, computer, and everything. Okay, not on my end. Audio is good.
Well, was
yeah.
And
yeah, it's still breaking apart.
Okay.
Yeah, every like half second, I can't hear you. It's literally like
cut.
So yeah, that's the thing is we need to figure out how to. Yeah, Skype is finished. Skype is going away in May. Someone's in the chat. I could play how it sounds. You could listen to yourself how it is. I'll play this right here to figure out how to. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear the screen? Actually, yeah, I'm not sharing screen with you, so I need to share screen with you. I'll share so you know what I'm seeing. I'll share my screen. Yeah. So this is present now window. I'll share this one right here. Oh, I need to share a tab with window. Okay, live streaming. Yeah, this is why I don't like, okay, this one here. Okay, can you, you can see my screen, Daniel? Hello? Okay, guys. Yeah, the thing, I'm not sure what's going on. Do you have the Rumble link, please, Matthew? Mary is messaging. Yeah, it's in the Rumble link is right here. It's all gonna be the same thing. Rumble, 1 second, someone's asking the chat. Okay, there's a Rumble link right there. Okay, hello, can you hear me? Can you see my screen? Yeah, guys, again, I did not anticipate this kind of stuff here. So, hello, Matthew, Daniel Nagase. Daniel Nagase, I got the
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it's cutting off. I'm not sure what's going on. So this issue we had with Skype. Is it a microphone issue or is it a computer issue?
No. I switched microphone and
yeah, it's like you're speaking a different language.
Couldn't speak like when it's out here.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what it is. I could play how you sound, so you can. If you can hear my screen, this is how you sound.
The screen see.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's still breaking apart. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Turn off screen share. Okay, I'll turn off screen share, so maybe it's easier. Okay, so stop presenting. Yeah, so stop presenting. Okay, so you won't be able to hear or see, but basically we'll see if the audio at least works. Okay, so if you can also give a overview of what the laptop you're using, something.
I'll sound it now.
Okay, it was a bit better. Yeah, it's better. Can you just let's see, make a full sentence. Let's see if I can understand it. Right.
It's like it's being net.
Yeah, it's still distorted.
Yeah. I'm calling on. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, guys, I asked him to call me on my cell phone, but the police actually took his phone as well when they raided him.
Seamless.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll have to use chat. Turn off screen share. There's a DDoS type attack. Wow, that's insane. Yeah. Okay. So we can also do chat instead. And yeah, we might have to resort to a chat type live stream until the audio is there. So what is your Telegram? Yeah, we could try Telegram actually. So maybe that works. My Telegram is just Math Easy Solutions. So I'll send you a link to my personal Telegram and my phone number, my profile. What is my username? Okay, so it's that. Okay, why isn't it just copied on full link? So if you just paste that into Telegram, it'll show me up, and you can call me directly from there. I'll add you. What's your Telegram? But can you hear me fine? Otherwise, I'll have to type. Can you hear me fine? Hey guys. So thanks for those in the chat. Willing to put up with this technical difficulties. Okay, you can hear me fine. Okay, that's good at least. So we have that. And yeah, so if you can, yeah. So and what's your Telegram? So I'll call you from Telegram. See if that works. And also, guys, if you haven't seen already, I just saw it a few hours, just like an hour ago. The story of or just the footage of Theo Lim getting taken away by the police. Well, first of all, it was Davis Lim was you could see him holding the baby and running away from the government, and then they also locked up the mother, and it was absolutely tragic. And then there's Theo Lim talking about how the police beat him up, and then confiscated all of his stuff, his laptop, his car, his driver's license, his wallet, everything. And they were asking him, the social workers were asking him we're asking him to visit him while he's like beaten up, his ribs are broken, and they wouldn't even take a phone call. So that's pretty wild stuff, guys. I'm gonna share this in the links. So okay, I'll check what you were typing. Okay, Dr. Yoshi, okay. I'm gonna add you here. So guys, okay, I can coder reason. Except, is that you? Hello?
That's me.
Okay, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear
Hello,
you.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you better than Google Meet. Okay, so
Can you? Okay, let me just shut down this.
I'll shut down Google Meet.
Let
as
me
well.
down because it's a completely different server.
Okay.
It's a different server.
Okay, I'm closing Google Meet and just gonna shut this down. Okay, and leave call. Okay, so we're no longer in Google Meet. So we are coder reason, and I'm also gonna quickly add accounts. Okay, Dr. Yoshi. Okay, that is your coder reason. I will say add to contacts. How do I just add to contacts? Add to contacts. This is. Yeah. All right. Perfect. And should we? I could share screen as well if you want, or is that too much for the computer? Hello. Hello, Daniel. Hello.
Hold on. Now your audio is coming in extremely choppy.
Now my audio's choppy.
Let's. Can you try saying a few more things? Am I still coming through clear?
Yours is clear now. Yeah. Hello. Yes. Hello, Daniel Nagase. Can you hear me fine? Okay, so you can't hear me. What is it?
You're coming in choppy. Exactly the same choppiness that it was before on Google Meets, but now you're sounding choppy.
Okay. But Google Meet was able to hear, so do we have to call you on Google Meet and then turn off microphone for me so you can hear me? Okay. Okay, so now you're sounding... Okay, there's the thing I was looking for. I was trying to add you there. Okay. Go, Okay, should I call on Google Meet and turn off mic? Okay. When I first called both ways, okay, so yeah, I don't know why that is. Oh, actually, what I could do is I could call. I won't be able to record. Yeah, actually, I could call you on my phone. Okay, so that's one way we could do. Okay, so I'm gonna call you on my phone. And I know, but then you won't be able. The audience won't be able to hear you. That's only the thing, because I'm talking to you on the. I can hear you. Okay, WTC Josh says I can hear me both. Yeah, but he can't hear me. That's the thing. Okay, Google is in the is man in the middle.
Let me try calling you again.
Okay, yeah, call again. So I can hear you fine. Okay, so incoming call. And does it pick up? Okay. Accept. All right, can you hear me?
How is it now?
Yeah, good. I can hear you fine. It's just up to you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're coming in choppy.
Okay,
wow,
so
it was so clear for the first.
Okay, so I'll try calling. Let's see. I'll try calling.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll hang
you're
up and I'll
okay,
try
why don't
calling.
you try calling? I'll hang
Yeah.
up.
Okay, so just end call and call. Okay, yeah, start call. Maybe video as well might work. All right, now can you hear me?
How is?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, your audio's still coming through choppy, extremely choppy.
Yeah, so I can hear you. That's the thing. So, yeah, that's the other thing is if I call, otherwise I have to call on. Otherwise the last resort would be calling on speakerphone, on my phone, and that'll be just brutal. Are you in Vancouver? Yeah, I'm in Vancouver. So, is there any phone call? No, I'm in Richmond. I'm in Richmond. So that's another thing. Otherwise, if we have to reschedule, I can meet up with you. Okay, I'll do this. I'm in Richmond. If we have to, okay, so what I'll do is I'll call you on the phone. I'm gonna hang up and call phone. And call on phone. Okay, he's using wired headphones. Okay, so just so we can at least have some conversations. Okay, end call. I'm gonna call on all. Okay, what about WhatsApp? Okay, we could try WhatsApp. That's another thing, yeah. All right. Okay, so now you're on speaker. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me even on the phone. Okay, because I can hear you, so it might be
It's a bit different, but it's still coming in choppy.
Okay, yeah, because I have.
Hang
Yeah.
on. What's your? Let me just write down. What's your phone number here, and then I'll call you on WhatsApp.
Okay, yeah, I have WhatsApp as well. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I pasted my number in Telegram. And someone's asking, are you using wired headphones? I'm using wired headphones.
All right, I'm gonna hang up on Telegram and open up WhatsApp.
Okay, I want to see if that works on the computer. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm gonna go to WhatsApp. Let's see. Let's go to see if WhatsApp works on the computer. And would this be able to call? Okay, can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? No. Ben, I can't hear you, Ben. Plot twist, one of us is death. Alright. So he's gonna try to call me on WhatsApp. Yeah, so guys, yeah, sorry about that. I might have to meet him in person, so I'll be, I'll go to Telegram. Okay, so the thing is, he might have to call on so anyways, guys, sorry about this. So remember, he got raided by the police, and they stole his cell phone, like, or you could call it confiscated, whatever, different word for theft. Daniel, are you using wired headphones? So he's not online anymore. He's calling me. He's gonna call me on WhatsApp, but I guess he has trouble finding it. And also, I just want to add this. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so he called me there, or he's on here. Add to just create new contact. Dr. Daniel Nagase. Okay, I'm gonna call right now. Start voice call. Okay. Yeah, so I'm calling him on WhatsApp. All right. Okay, so now he's not picking up on the WhatsApp. So we are in the Matrix, guys. Yeah, so I tried. We tried Skype first, and then issues, and then Google Meet issues, and then Telegram issues. All right, so it's not picking up. Dan Nagase. Dan Nagase. What? Da Nagase. Okay. Dr. Daniel Nagase. Okay. Anyways. What about through Facebook? Okay, so we could try. Okay. Now you send me a voice note. Go. Let's see what this says. Okay. Now even the voice note's choppy. Okay, so he has written about being hacked, and apparently they took a laptop as well. So I don't know what he's using, a different laptop. Okay. The voice note's choppy. Otherwise, Facebook, or what's the I called. Try calling me. Okay, right now on this. So guys, and we have 21 people still. That's pretty good. 21 people for a live stream about figuring out why live stream's not working. Figuring out what's going on. Okay, and okay guys, we need to figure this out. What's good, my dudes? Okay, this was supposed to be an epic live stream, and right now is having trouble. Okay, I'm trying to tell him to call me. Every device we're using, it doesn't work, and he sent me a let's open up this. He sent something else. I'm gonna open this. Actually, I'll go to, okay, Google Meet doesn't work. So guys, anyways, if he gets on it, it'll be pretty epic. Otherwise, we'll have to reschedule. But he lives nearby, so we'll have to meet up. And yeah, that'd be quite epic. I could probably just hope you get it. Yeah. But anyways, guys, if you haven't seen it already, okay, so he's messaging me. I have no option to call. This is WhatsApp for Linux desktop. Oh, so he's using WhatsApp for Linux. So he has his Linux computer that wasn't confiscated, and that's like doesn't work with anything. So again, Linux. Okay, so there's no option for calling. Okay, so Telegram it is. All otherwise Facebook. Okay, we'll say what. Okay, let's try Facebook. Or what about Facebook? Okay, let's try Facebook then. Let's go FB. Okay. Okay, Daniel Nagase. Yeah, I'll send him my Facebook. What is my Facebook? Okay. I'll send us my Facebook right here. Okay, so guys, hopefully we get in it. Even just some info, but we'll have to, regardless, reschedule. Okay, there's this one. There's mine. Okay. Okay, so, add as friend. Okay, there's Daniel Nagase. Okay. And yeah, so I added you, and there's Daniel. Okay. Play some video of his ordeal while you figure it out. Yeah, so okay, I'll do that, guys. Okay, guys, while I'll be figuring it out, that's great suggestion for. And again, it's not his. Well, it's his ordeal was the. I think the other stuff, but this is the one that he's involved with this case, the Amber Alert. If you guys haven't seen the Amber Alert, I'll just talk about this while he tries to call me on the. I added him as a friend. Okay. I'll say I added you as a friend. Okay, so now we have it there. Now we can message and call. Let's call. Okay, so we are live. Almost live. Okay, use your microphones forever. Okay, let's go. Okay, so I'm calling him. If this works, to be epic. Okay. All right. Okay, so now this is not picking up. Okay, okay, so now he's messaging. Okay, so video is now supported on this browser. Okay, yeah. Okay, so try another one. I'll try updating it. Okay. Yeah, okay, so you can now use message. Okay, this doesn't... Okay, so now that... so he's using Linux. And also, guys, if you follow Substack, he has a big Substack. Nagase. if you go right here, Nagase MD, go to his Logical Surprises Substack. It's pretty big, and this is one of the government like child support services people that abducted the kid or took him away. Watkins, I'm just glad you guys know how to use this stuff. No hurry. Change browser. Yeah, he's gonna change it something. FB Messenger is evil too. Well, yeah, but we'll just see. Everything's not working. He's using Linux, so just see what can work with Linux. From like a laptop that was confiscated. Okay, and also if you go right here, hacked. So we go here. Whoops, why does it do that? Okay, I'm gonna go to hacked. And also check his Substack, guys. This was an emergency post, August 5th. My Linux computer has been hacked and permissions at least one file changed to prevent copying. Okay, so it was hacked as well. USB, okay, I'm gonna remove this from that. Okay, so you sent the photo. Okay, this photo as well says, you can't join this call, video call, your meeting, and this was Google Meet. That was Google Meet. Okay, that was Google Meet. Let's try this video. Start a voice call. I just want to call a voice call. Okay, connected. Okay, now. Okay, let's see what this says here. About purposes, Firefox currently open links, new tab. Safety, anyways, use a... Okay. It says, being managed by my organization at the top. Your browser is being managed by your organization. Interesting. What organization is that? It says Firefox isn't managed by that, except I've not... Okay, maybe try downloading Brave browser. Has built-in ad block, etc. So maybe Brave browser is pretty good. This one I use brave.com. Okay, so brave.com. Okay, guys, we're gonna keep trying to try updating your browser to the newest update. Same for Dan. Yeah, mine is updated newest one. It gives me a heads up there. Maybe you should start restarting the computer. Okay, we'll do it. People are asking maybe if you restart your computer. Okay. Or browser, etc. But I think Brave might work. So Brave might work, guys. So guys, anyways, sorry for putting up with this. And also, yeah, for those who didn't know, what's his... Okay, redial. Okay, call ended. Okay, there it is. Accept. Okay, let's see in. We're in. Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Alright, can you hear me? Microphone. Can you hear me? Device settings. Hello, testing. Okay, this should work. Play. Okay, so that's working. Default speakers, Yeti. Okay, everything's working. Fine. Okay, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Okay, guys. Today's live stream might have to rename it to, can we figure out how to live stream? Alright, so we are in the Matrix, guys. So we're gonna have to meet up in person. It's too ridiculous. Okay, so he can't hear me. Let me try closing and reloading. Okay, so he's gonna try closing and reloading. Okay, guys, so anyways, I did not know this was all gonna happen. Otherwise I can literally just drive over right now and meet him up if you guys want that. Actually, I could do that right now. Should I message that or just reschedule? I think reschedule. Do it. Okay. Okay, last try. Let's do the last try. Otherwise, we may have to reschedule. meet up in person. Choppy Google Meet, loud and clear. Loud and clear. You guys can hear me? Okay, yeah. Otherwise, I'll just drive over there. Okay, guys. We have 29 people. It's pretty good. A lot of people showing up for the stream. Okay. So while he's doing that, I'll just move this elsewhere. I'll just make this open in Messenger. Okay. So otherwise, we could just meet up in person and reschedule. Yeah, reschedule to next week maybe. And yeah, so also guys, for those don't know, John Hutchison, he fainted again and he was in hospital. I think he got out of the hospital now. So he's out of the hospital and they did MRI, they did MRI. Apparently he has a bladder stone or kidney stone or whatever it's called and so on. Okay. Yeah, this is, okay. And I just want to open up some stuff. So I'll show you some stuff while I just want to move it somewhere so I could see. Okay, I'm gonna move this here. Banks of major issues, downward spiral happening fast. In a way, but no, not really. Everything is like managed properly, the way the NWO works. And the other part is stable coins is gonna be pretty much absorbing all of the banking stuff. Okay, so he's getting a call. Accept. All right, can you hear me? Otherwise, I'll try it with the phone. Can you hear me? Microsoft Yeti, can you hear me? Because still nothing hear me. He's calling Facebook. It can't hear me. Can you hear me? Okay. I've been worried about him. Yeah. So yeah, John is he's better. But they haven't removed the kidney stone yet, so we'll see what happens. But anyways, he fainted, and apparently last time, last year was also fainted. It wasn't a heart attack, so it wasn't a heart issue. It wasn't a heart. Okay, so can't hear me. I'm gonna try calling. I'll try calling on my phone. Tammy says kidney stones are worse than having a baby. Interesting. All right, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna hang up this one. I'm gonna call. Where is Facebook? My goodness. Okay. Okay, so Daniel and okay, so let's call this crystal formation. Okay, and if you go okay, hello? Can you hear me? So again, everything's muted. Every time I call, okay, I can't hear you. I still can't hear you. So can you hear me though? All right, guys, we have should be able to tweak the sound on Linux with Pavo controller. Mary Kilbane. Okay, let's see. Message from chat. We'll ask. Yeah, we'll see if Grok AI knows. I'll ask Grok. We'll ask Grok AI if there's any issues. How do we solve this? Okay, we're gonna do real-time solving stuff. Let's go right here on Linux, and when he is calling me on Facebook, Telegram, WhatsApp, Skype, Google Meet, I can't hear him and he can't hear me. Okay. Let's see. Call back. Audio shows. Test the microphone speakers. Select the correct devices. Verify. Okay, so here's a bunch of stuff here, and I'll send him a link to this one. I like Xbuntu. Linux has most drivers from Ubuntu library. Okay, anyways, you guys are talking different languages, like fix it somehow. Okay, so you might be a Linux guy. We'll just say copy link. Not sure, but this may help. If you can be for it. Okay. Now the question is, how do you spell decipher? Okay, so working Google Meet and Telegram briefly. Okay, so we'll try Google Meet again. Okay, so I'll do Google Meet. I'll call Google Meet, and Telegram, and mute audio, and use what works from both. Okay, so I'm gonna Google Meet right now. Google Meet, new meeting. Copy this and okay, Google Meet. There's Google Meet. Okay, and let's go here. Okay, so start call. Ask to join. This is a different account. That's why. Okay. Am I gonna just switch accounts? Oh, let's switch account. Okay. Join now. Okay, add Daniel Nagase. Let's see, it should be working already. Send mail. Okay. What about Zoom in chat mention? Okay, Zoom. Yeah, Zoom is like, yeah, we could try Zoom then, but again, that's probably the same thing. It just said there's like an hour limit, or 30 minutes limit. I'm not sure. Yeah, an hour limit if you don't have the paid account. Okay, we'll try Zoom then. Okay, we'll do Zoom. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. I am in Google Meet. We can try Zoom afterwards if Meet plus Telegram don't work. Alright. So guys, anyways, those in the chat, thank you for still being here. 31, we're getting more and more people. I should do this more often. We'll do a troubleshooting live stream. So next live stream, we'll troubleshoot. What can we troubleshoot? Something that doesn't work. Okay. Okay, so we got Facebook. Okay. I think Linux to Windows will have this kind of though, unless he changes microphone. The methylene blue. Okay, so we got methylene blue. Okay, so we got peeps all over. I'll put this. Gone back to Google Meet. Okay, so he's back on Google Meet. Okay, so he's on Google Meet. Gone back. Where's the message from? What did I get the message from? Oh, it's a WhatsApp. Okay, yeah, so I am on Google Meet. I'm waiting for him. Let's go to, let's go. Yeah, I emailed you invite link. Okay, so I'm on Google Meet. Hey guys. Hive on cell and pad issues. Okay, interesting. Yeah, guys. We'll, if you think of another troubleshooting video, we'll do a troubleshooting deep dive. Troubleshooting how to what should we do? How to fix your sink faucet. That'd be a good one. Okay. So anyways, we got this. We got peeps everywhere. Alright guys, this is biggest gong show stream, but pretty good. We could do the most of make the most of it. I'm just gonna lower my desk and start sitting. Holy! But you guys can hear me though, fine. That's pretty good. Okay, that's me popping my head up. I'm not too versed in methylene blue, but herbs and such. Rename it to group tech support for Daniel. Okay, so that's gonna be what's gonna be renamed, guys. Group tech support, and we'll read his story as well as the emergency post, and also the one where he got his stuff confiscated. So, and also if you see the links, it's some, yeah, it's some pretty epic story with the whole COVID mumbo jumbo. All right. I'm in it right now. So he's not on. Okay. Okay, I'll send the link again then. How do I? Oh, the link. I think it's just like this. Okay, that's just how it is. And then I'll go to WhatsApp. Okay, and then send them quickly. Okay, and okay, so I'll send that there. All right, so we got that. We got this, and okay, so then we'll read until he gets on it. I'm just gonna keep reading stuff, just entertain you guys. All right, emergency post. Okay, this one right here. This was on August 5th, 2004. This is an emergency post. As I just found out tonight that my Linux computer has been hacked and the permissions of at least one file have been changed to prevent copying. So this one downloaded while you can. This is a committee of the 300 Treasury certificate. Interesting. Sends $1 million. Okay, so it goes over this. I think I was sent this by Alan Forrest. So I just want to wrap my head around it. But the key part I want to show is again just show you his story, and then we'll get to the eventually. Even if he gets on the if he gets his microphone or not working, I'll talk about the Leo case. Okay, so now someone wants to join the call. Yeah, how do I accept? Admit. Okay, so Daniel Nagase. All right, can you hear me?
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I got.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I
Oh,
can hear
finally, this is what.
I can hear myself
On a
twice. I
second.
can hear myself twice. Does
I
that
can hear
mean the
myself twice. I can hear myself twice.
Oh, hang on.
Does that mean the
No, that's. I just have a phone call from Japan on my Japanese phone. Funny how that works just fine. Hold on.
Okay, yeah. I think that other thing we could
Is
have
the
done.
echo gone?
Yeah, echo's gone. Yeah.
echo's gone? Yeah.
Oh no, I can hear it again.
Hang on. Let me just take this call from Japan.
Okay, yeah.
Hi, Moeri-san. 今ちょっと大変だ。インタビューある。そして、特別警察ハッキングやる。インタビューの真ん中にハッキングやる。そして、あ、番号書いてない切符の何のゲートな。韓国の飛行機の会社の人が手伝ってする。それは韓国飛行機会社全部同じ。今、近くにいる、出かけたのゲート。今ちょっと朝早いね。
でも今、吉尾さんインタビューだったら忙しい。
またメッセージ送ります。インタビューの後。はいはい。はい、バイバイ。Hi, I'm back. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right. And that
Yeah,
echo.
I can hear you.
Oh, I can hear the echo as well. Is that from like YouTube video being played in the back that you can hear? Or how are you hearing me?
No, that was just the headphone. The headphones, I just put you back on headphones. But the headphone jack, it's normally a headphone and a microphone jack, but this computer, like I said, it's been God knows what they've done to it. But if I put the headphones in all the way so that it's on the microphone switches to the headphones and you can't hear anything because the headphone jack has had the microphone deactivated on the headphone jack. So I have to keep the headphones kind of half in, half out because right now I'm using an USB microphone.
Okay, yeah. This is
Yeah, I don't know how they did that particular hack.
Yeah, this is some black magic that's going on. All right. Yeah, so it's working fine.
Well, I'm pretty sure this Yeah, this computer's been actually physically hacked before. Like when I've left it in the car, gone to a rally or something, and it's just the computer's not where I left it. And, stuff in the car has been moved around, and they might have opened it up, tried to put in a bug between the microphone, and then maybe I came back sooner than they expected, and they just ran away, just shut the computer back up and ran away and just left the wires, or it would actually have to be on the circuit board that they'd have to start, hand soldering things in or out. So they might have left something half done. So yeah, it's nuts, the things that have happened to me.
Yeah, that is insane. So I was reading up on your story there from, I forget which is that website, something intelligence. And they said that, so you initially, this one here. Oh, I can hear myself again. So that White Rose Intelligence website has a summary on you with COVID and stuff. And they said that, so it was interesting, on September 11th, 2021, it says that you treated several elderly patients diagnosed with COVID-19 pneumonia using combination of ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, along with salbutamol, fluticasone, and some other stuff. And then, so they got better after a week. And then you got someone filed a complaint.
No, 18 hours.
Oh, 18 hours. Holy, okay.
Yeah, with that combination, 18 hours.
Okay. So
18 hours from almost needing a ventilator to get adequate oxygenation to adequate oxygenation without, not anywhere near close to needing a ventilator.
Oh wow, and it says there, and then like after, but then I think they were discharged after a week though. That's what it says. But they got better in 18 hours.
Yeah, they were discharged after a week. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So they got better right away, and then the
yes,
person
they were discharged after a week.
Yeah, and I'll see the name of that person that filed a report on you. Yeah, according to Nagase, Jennifer Starr. Yeah, so Jennifer Starr of Alberta Health Services filed a complaint against you. So like even though they were treated and
Jennifer Bestard.
Oh, Bestard. Okay.
Jennifer Bestard. She's Bestard, like bastard, but with an E.
Okay, yeah. The
she's regional director for Alberta Health Services.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So basically, and they did not care that the patients were better. They just ignored it, like they didn't really care.
No. It was because I used ivermectin, and a nurse aide had reported me for using ivermectin for the patients. And she reported me to the hospital medical director because she had seen on a CBC News program that ivermectin is not to be used on COVID-19 patients. So she reported me to the hospital director. The hospital director reported me to the regional director. The regional director, Dr. Jennifer Bestard, she's a neurologist. She had me removed from the hospital the next day.
Holy, yeah! In one day they just removed.
So before I left the hospital, that was a Saturday that I had treated the patient. So Saturday morning, by Sunday afternoon, when I had to leave the hospital, the patient's lungs had cleared. So that's 18 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 8. Yeah.
So the next, I was.
And when they reported, did they not consult
I was
the
just taken
patients?
off.
Yeah. But did they not consult with the patients at
Nope,
all, or
nope,
in any way?
No.
So they literally don't even care about the patient's
Nope.
health.
Did not consult the patients at all. Yeah.
Yeah, so
No.
that's-
And this is kind of the the standard of care in Canada. It doesn't matter what you want as the patient; they'll just do whatever they want, right? And we've seen that with the hospital murders. That one doctor in Trail, BC, the head of the ICU, Dr. Peachel, he gave the COVID vaccine to a patient who just got off the ventilator and was on the ward recovering, just doing the last bit of recovery after being on a ventilator for a couple of weeks. And then while she was recovering, having, improved enough that she didn't need a ventilator, he gave her the COVID vaccine and then wrote an order for the nurses to remove the COVID vaccine from the medication administration record. And, as anyone who's visited their family doctor, would know, if you ever ask a family doctor, or any doctor for that matter, for a vaccination while you're still sick, they'll tell you no. You can't get any vaccination, flu vaccine or anything while you're sick. So this patient was clearly still sick, and the head of the ICU, Dr. Peachel, gave her the mRNA shot, and a week later she was dead. So that's premeditated murder, because he wrote an order for the nurses to remove from the medication record that he had ordered previously the COVID-19 vaccine while she was still recovering.
Okay, yeah, that's wild. And yeah, because I see that in the White Rose thingy as well. It mentions Nagase, you testified in the National Citizens Inquiry on May 19th, 2023, and then you also described the patient treated by Dr. John Peachel at the Kootenai Boundary Regional Hospital, who died after being given the Pfizer BioNTech vax. Yeah, it's absolutely. No, yeah, it's insane.
And that's clear. That's clear-cut murder.
Yeah, and
that's clear-cut murder, because afterwards he tried to remove the evidence.
Oh wow! And are you able to share that evidence? Oh, because you did it I think you took it to court, right? Or are you able to publicly share that, like on your Substack, or is that?
No. It's all published with the medical records on my Substack.
Okay.
That was the article, the difference between negligence and homicide article. It has the scans of the medical records.
Okay, I think I did.
Of the patient who died, and Dr. Peachel's order.
Negligence. Yeah, because I think I was sent this by Alan Forrest. I think you may have. Yeah, it's the difference between negligence and homicide. Okay, I get this one right here. I'll share this. No, this is. And it has it all in there too. Yeah, this is the COVID one is pretty ridiculous. Like, so my brother was actually he works in the ICU at Vancouver General. He has a respiratory therapist. So what was interesting is he was saying that during the height of COVID, when they did lockdowns and everything, he says that was like the only time they had like barely any patients. And then after the vax rollout and then it opened up everything, that's like afterwards. So it's like when they were doing the lockdown, there was nothing going on, like not that much. And then he was also forced to get the vaccine. He tried to do a he tried to say he was allergic to it because he had a bad reaction to one of them, and then they did allergy tests, but they still wouldn't. Nothing went through the allergy one, so you have to take the second dose. So it's absolutely brutal. Okay.
Yeah, it's forced medical experimentation, and that's a war crime, Rome Statute war crime, and I think it's No, I'd have to get it's like section 10 2B or something like that.
Yeah, and interestingly, the first time I heard of you was actually there was a CBC hit piece against you, when you were, I think you were doing. No, this was. So in the headline, they says that anti-vaccine. This one here, just to give you an idea how CBC News is, they literally don't care about truth or anything. So this says doctor who gave anti-vaccine speech in front of effigies of officials. So trying to say, being hanged. Faces discipline hearing and they were saying that you were spreading false claims about stillbirths at the BC hospital. So I want to ask you about the stillbirths as well, and also just your dealings with the CBC, and how are you coping with all these like hit pieces against you by these big name cowards?
Yeah, no, the CBC doesn't stop. They've been writing hit piece after hit piece after hit piece. The defamation is it's unstoppable, and the courts won't do anything about it because, as I did with the court case from August 2023, the actual judges have no accountability for harms caused by their decisions, right? And that was the article that had to be subsequently censored. And it was called A Criminal Surprise, the original article. And it talked about if there's no accountability to lawful men or women from the judiciary, then the judiciary is only accountable to organized crime because they don't care what the law or judicial immunity. They'll just go to the judge's front door and shoot them if they don't get the decision they want. So as long as there's complete legal immunity for judges and magistrates, they will always decide in the favor of the organized criminal. Whether it's a Masonic pedophile ring, whether it's the hell, whether it's a pharmaceutical organized crime ring that just works by bribery, right? And because if they go along with, if they judge in favor of the lawful man or woman, they'll get a knock on their front door.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think that's like the only way that they, because if there's no accountability, they can pretty much say anything they want or rule any way they want until they get a
Right.
until they get a knock on their door.
Right, and they have to rule. Yeah, and the only people who are going to knock on their front door are the organized criminals, and so they will always decide in the favor of organized crime, and it's as simple as that. That's the entire judiciary, the British Columbia Supreme Court.
No, yeah.
And that's a Canada-wide precedent now, as of August 2023.
2023. What was the why that specific date?
The original article was a criminal surprise. If you look at the original article, there's a saved copy from 2023 on archive.org. The current version of the article had to be censored by court order, and it says this article has been censored by warrantless court order. Let me see if I can find you that.
Because I was looking at your site, it doesn't show that, but it shows a reference to it in one of the articles. It's a criminal. So a court order actually had to remove it. So criminal surprise.
No, it had to censor. I had to remove.
Okay, redacted.
Yeah, I had to remove the reason why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have it open.
And that's.
Can you go on? What was the?
And let's see.
Should I share my screen, or is that going to be another issue?
No, that's fine. I just need to find it.
Because I have the link, I could put it in the thing. So
it's on one of the windows.
Find links, I'm really good at doing that. I'll send it in the chat. Chat right here. So here's the logical surprise, and now it's changed into has been redacted by a literal court order, an actual court order, literally.
Yeah.
That's absolutely. Yeah, and yeah, it's wild. So that I disclosed no reasonable claim in my suit was unnecessary, scandalous. This is August 11th, 2023. Dismiss my lawsuit against Grant Taylor in the Supreme Court. Is this the $66 million one, or which one is this? That lawsuit that you had?
That was the $66 million one. Yes.
Yeah. So that was interesting. A number you picked.
And that was because there was a court order. Because it was 33.3 per individual in my family who was medically experimented on, and that's by court order. I can't talk anymore about the reason why I made that lawsuit against the magistrate. But magistrates are one level lower than a judge, and they're not allowed to make an ex parte court order. That's illegal by British Columbia law. And in 2021, this magistrate made an ex parte order. That means they made an order against me without me having any opportunity to present my side of the story. So that's an ex parte order. So only judges have that ability in Canada. That magistrates, it's illegal for a magistrate to make an order without both the defendant and the plaintiff. But this one did so anyway in 2021. My family was severely affected by it. And then after that, I tried to sue the magistrate for making an illegal order. The judge, Justice Michael Tamman, said judges and magistrates have absolute immunity. Don't have any responsibility or accountability for wrongful decisions or illegal decisions for that matter, because that was an illegal decision. And then in November 2023, I got a court order, also ex parte, by Justice Taylor, 2 court orders actually, saying that I had to censor my Substack, that there were 2 topics I could not talk about in my Substack or online anywhere. And if anyone else talked about those 2 topics that I've been banned from talking about, that I'm the one in violation of a court order, of a Supreme Court order. So this was Justice Taylor in BC Supreme. The second court order that the one that was just before the publication ban court order was a court order saying I couldn't come within 500 meters of Vancouver General Hospital or UBC Hospital and one other location that I cannot mention because of the publication ban. So I'm not allowed within half a kilometer of Vancouver General, which prevents me from traveling on any of the major thoroughfares between where I am and anywhere else in Vancouver. Because that's 12th, 16th, all the way up to 25th is within half a kilometer of Vancouver General, 4th Avenue, and yeah, basically all Broadway, all the major thoroughfares going from one side of Vancouver to the other pass within half a kilometer of Vancouver General Hospital. So I've been banned from coming within half a kilometer of VGH, Vancouver General. And then shortly after that court order, that also is ex parte, so I had no chance to go before a judge to, to defend myself against this ridiculous order saying I can't come within half a kilometer of the main hospital in BC. I had to go to Japan. And then within 14 days of me arriving in Japan, actually it wasn't even 14 days, it was 10 days of arriving in Japan, I got another court order saying that I've been banned from publishing on two particular topics, and that anyone else publishing on these two particular topics makes me in violation of the court order. So basically, any RCMP officer can mention what I'm not allowed to mention on Twitter or Facebook or something, and then I'm all of a sudden the one violating a court order. And that was in December of 2023.
Holy, yeah. So they're pretty much considering you as a terrorist, but like. And this is all because you were an anti-COVID mandate.
Well, it's even worse than it's worse than a terrorist because I don't know of any terrorism charge where someone else can make a post and then the person gets arrested, right? And that's the situation.
Wow.
Anyone anywhere on the internet posts on two topics that I've been banned from talking about, I'm the one who's in violation of a court order. And that was from December 2023.
Okay, because I'm opening up my Substack will be censored in 5 days, December 19, 2023. So you took a screenshot from the court order, and it literally reads right here, until further order of the court, the respondent immediately and in any event within 5 days of being served with a copy of this order, immediately delete or remove all statements and content which he has published or caused to be published in any online forum, including any social media platform which contain direct or indirect reference to, etc. Yeah, that's wild. So that's another reason I post on. If you ever heard of the Hive blockchain, like things can't get deleted there. You can edit it, but then
no, I haven't.
So, yeah,
okay.
So you can edit things, but all the edits are shown as well in the blockchain. So someone can always bring up everything that was ever posted. So that's for important things. I make sure to post on the Hive blockchain. Substack is secondary, even though Substack's pretty good for getting outreach and getting emails. But if you want things there forever, I can help you get an account as well if you want post important stuff. And then that way they can't be deleted, and there's no.
Sounds good. Thank you.
So even if the government wanted to, all you could do is just delete the front end, but anyone else can just see it regardless. So I can help you set up that.
Yeah, the Hive blockchain sounds like a good idea because even archive.org has been censoring. They did an update that was just before the Trump re-election that Archive started acting funny.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Hive blockchain is probably the most censorship-resistant platform in the world. It's the only one that I trust, and not just like content as well, but you could also it also has crypto value. You can also store US dollars equivalent in crypto that has been able to hold its peg for like 5 years. So, and without any access to any actual bank, you can store value. So it's helped people out in like Nigeria and so on that they can get access to US dollars with literally no KYC and anything. So that's but yeah, so I can help you with that. Definitely, I'll send it after the stream. And yeah, that's but I was absolutely surprised. I did not realize that the court order literally says you can't post on social media, as if you're a terrorist. And also, the one benefit of being a terrorist is U.S. funnels like billions of dollars of weapons to you, and they call you a rebel if you fight against Russia and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's yeah. So this is absolutely, I cannot believe this, and this is Canada too. This is Canada. This is supposedly a free country, except we're ruled by a monarchy somehow. But it's like, right? And yeah, so we have a whole lot of stuff to talk about and so on. We had the first hour was trying to fix up all of this technical difficulties, and yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Basically, the question is, what do you want to talk about first off, and then because I have the links that I made. And one of the main ones I dived into it was that Amber Alert Theodore Lim case, and so that one I want to ask about, because that's one of the most surreal things, because I got that Amber Alert literally, yeah, so on March 13th, I had no idea who Theo Lim was, and and my first thought was, oh, it's just a parent abducting a kid from like a divorce settlement or something, and then. And then I realized, and then Alan Forrest sent me a link of your article about the case, and that the family was literally visiting you. Yeah, so they're visiting you. I think. Oh yeah, if you can speak about that as well, and then and also give a summary to the people in the audience that may not know about the Theo Lim case, because this one is surreal, because I saw the Facebook video of the mom getting arrested, and the father taking the kid and like. Running away from the cops, and then also his testimony saying that he was beaten up and his like ribs are broken, and like 3 daughters, he can't see them or the wife until December, and the mom is in like a catatonic state at the hospital, like, and it's all for nothing. So if you can,
this was a situation where a father was trying to save his son from an abusive, neglectful environment. Simple as that. And the abusers and the neglect is coming from the BC Children's Hospital doctors and the social workers. And the neglect, it has to do with they're giving him an environment that doesn't involve frequent interaction with his sisters and family, right? And that's neglect. Like no foster nursing care can provide the same amount of social interaction all day for a growing child to learn, how to talk, how to walk, how to, get into an argument with his sisters over a toy and how to resolve that, right? No social worker or foster family can provide that type of environment for a growing baby. He's almost 3 years old now. And so a father, his son, and saving him from an abusive, neglectful environment. And the first people he took him to he first took him to Dr. Mel Bruchet. He was the family doctor from North Van who broke the story about all the stillbirths at BC Women's and Children's Hospital. But then right after taking his son to visit Dr. Bruchet, he brought his son over to me, right? And I examined him, at first from the emergency perspective, and then from just a general pediatric development perspective. Because, even though emergency doctors are not technically pediatric specialists in development, one of the things you have to do if you're a good emergency doctor is when you see a child in the emergency department is to know whether or not they are approximately the appropriate size and weight for their age, right? Because if they're underweight, malnourished, you have to spot that as an emergency doctor. You also have to be able to spot if the child is being abused, right? So there's all sorts of abuse. There's actual physical abuse, and then there's mental abuse, neglect, right? And there's all sorts of horrific experiments done in communist East Germany during the wars, where they used orphanage children for all sorts of horrific scientific experiments. And one of the big things that they did was psychological experiments. What happens if you put a growing child into extreme sensory deprivation? Do you turn them into someone who's more manageable as a soldier? What if they want to create the perfect assassin who has no conscience, who will just kill up the order? How do they get the humanity and emotions out of an orphanage child, and all the most horrific ways you can imagine that, making the child abuse other children, making the child witness abuse, deprivation, neglect, all the most horrific. These aren't even on the internet. These things are published in old psychiatric textbooks, and saying, well, if you're seeing certain features in behavior of a child in the emergency department, suspect neglect via, deprivation or social neglect, for example. Muteness, not speaking much, not speaking at an appropriate level. These can be all signs. So, as an emergency doctor, if you're really into your job, you're proud of the work you do, you live by the mantra of emergency medicine, you literally have to know everything. You have to know developmental pediatrics, you have to know emergency pediatrics, you have to know pediatric ICU, you have to know everything, right? So, bringing Theo to me was a good choice, because I've only examined him once before in Children's Hospital. And from a developmental perspective, he needs a lot of things done properly. And, he can breathe on his own. That's the first step to becoming independent, walking, learning to talk. But of course, now that he has a tracheostomy, a surgery that was not wanted by the parents, he can't put the air through his vocal cords like a normal child, because he's had the surgery interrupting his airway, so that he breathes through a hole in his neck that doesn't allow the air to go through his vocal cords. So, he's been subjected to all sorts of unnecessary surgeries, unnecessary interventions, being put on a ventilator even when he can breathe on his own. And so Theo brought him to me, and this is the first time I've seen him in a year and a half. And I was just absolutely overjoyed to see him breathing on his own without a ventilator, but, unfortunately through a hole in his neck. So I can't really assess how much he's been able to talk, but he does seem to be able to follow instructions, which means he's got an understanding of language. And that's a really important thing to assess, is that, even though someone has skull deformities and they have a genetic, abnormality that makes them different from every other person, one of the most important things that can reassure parents is that, mentally this child is going to develop normally, that he's just capable as any other child his age, right? And, looks, just because someone has a deformed skull does not mean that their brain is damaged, right? And this is one of the things that I had to evaluate, just because, here was a patient I hadn't seen in over a year brought to my front door, right? And, what really struck me about Theo is my living room is full of musical equipment. So as soon as you come in my front door, you come into the living room, you're going to see dials and knobs and keyboards and guitars everywhere. And Theo, as much as he could walk, as soon as he saw that, he wanted out. He wanted to go back outside, right? It wasn't the typical 3-year-old who sees something with knobs and they want to push all the buttons, right? That's a typical 3-year-old. He wanted exactly the opposite, right? And to me, that was a big sign that he remembered all the abuse he suffered at BC Children's Hospital. Because when I first examined, he was about 16 months old, surrounded by ventilators, feeding tube machines. He was surrounded by buttons and knobs and wires and cables everywhere. And from, as much as people don't remember their first year or, when they're 18 months old, Theo clearly remembered it a year and a half later. And things that have lots of buttons and knobs on them, it just makes him not happy. So then we went out to a children's playground at the elementary school, and he was perfectly happy. He could stand on his own, take a few steps. Walking, he still stumbled every now and then, but he's interested in other children, plays with his sisters, interacts with his sisters, despite not being able to talk. It's really a miracle, right? I'm just so happy to see any child who's who suffered so much, bounce back and rebound and start on the path to becoming a normal child again. And so after, it was about 9 degrees Celsius that afternoon. So we spent maybe about half an hour, 45 minutes outside in the playground. And then we went inside to the coffee shop. And in the coffee shop, I fed his sisters some muffins and waffles. I had a coffee, and he was just watching videos on his dad's phones about family videos, and watching his sisters eat. He's had no interest in food because he's had a feeding tube ever since he was born. And yeah, I was just observing, doing what a doctor does, right? Developmental pediatrics is 99% observation, right? You don't interfere, see what the child can do on his own, see how the child reacts to the environment, and then you make an evaluation. Is this child delayed? Are they not, developing at the same pace as their peers? Are they ahead, or are they just right in the middle? So, yeah, right in the middle of a developmental pediatric examination, first thing I hear is one of Davis's daughters say, "Oh, the police are here," and then before I know it, there's 2 arms lifting me up out of my seat by my arms, restraining both my arms, and lifted me out of my seat, dragged me out, pushed me against the wall. Said, "Face the wall. Don't look at what we're doing next." And then I look over my shoulder, and Davis was being stomped on. And there's another SWAT went straight after Davis's eldest daughter, who was trying to record the whole thing with a little body cam, little video. Yeah, SWAT officer made a beeline, didn't quite tackle, but pretty much, went straight after the kid, grabbed what was in her hand. It was just awful. It was just stupid, unbelievably stupid. Mm-hmm. Like a full-grown man attacking an 8-year-old, like absolutely stupid, unbelievably stupid, right? And the regular police officers standing outside, looking like they look so ashamed. The Vancouver PD. They're undercover officers in hoodies and their uniformed officers were just all watching this happen through the windows of the coffee shop, just like they were just so ashamed to be officers, right? Yeah, and the SWAT team, the SWAT team, just absolute idiots. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's just absolutely brutal there. And Davis says that his ribs are like either injured or broken, and they like punched him or like they beat him. He has like bruises on his head and so on. So, and the 3 daughters were all there, and they're all crying.
Yeah.
And it's like the police. It's like, what kind of psychopaths are they hiring for this kind of stuff? That's my first thought.
Yeah. Total psychopaths, and you'd have, I think what was that? There was a movie, American Psycho. I only watched bits and pieces of that movie, but it's exactly that mentality. It's that somebody who takes pleasure in the pain and suffering of others. Mm-hmm. Literally the psychopath mentality, and that's all. That was exactly there. Entire SWAT team.
Yeah.
Entire SWAT team.
Yeah.
Right, and okay, give them benefit of the doubt. Maybe some of them weren't psychopaths. They were just following orders. Yeah. Well, if you're just following orders, then you're a robot. That's literally subhuman. You are less than human. You are a robot. You just follow orders, right? And you're nothing more than a trained dog. If that's all you can do is follow orders, right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
And
definitely. I was gonna say,
like, it's premature to conclude that the actual SWAT team members and not their commander. I suspect that woman on the initial video is the commander for that SWAT team. It's premature to conclude that all the SWAT team are psychopaths, right? Mm-hmm. Just based on that one interaction. They might have been following orders to what was it? neutralize aggressively
Yeah, yeah,
3 children, 2 adults
yeah.
having coffee, right? But again, if they can't see through the idiocy, they're either stupid or they're subhuman, because they turned off any sense of reason. It's like, well, this coffee shop only has one exit. Why don't we just stand outside and say, hey, we have the place surrounded. Please give the child to us so we can send the child back to foster parents. If literally one officer or a pair of officers had walked in and said, hey, you look like Davis Lim, you're the subject of the Amber Alert. Can you give us Theo so that we can return him to the foster parents? We've been ordered to do so. Thank you very much. That's all that had to happen. Not one of these morons, the 10 to 15 of them, could put 2 and 2 together. That, hey, there's no escape from this place, so why don't we just say, hey, give us the child. You're surrounded.
Yeah.
Right? Any reasonable parent would see, okay, well, if that's the case here, where can I file a complaint? That's literally all that had to happen.
No, it is. But
And
when
disturbing.
sorry to cut off. I just want to chime in on the because when I saw the video from that was his mom was talking and so on, you could see the RCMP or the officers were, when they were filling in the Amber Alert, they were saying that he was dangerous and the child is in danger. So that they were probably told that to the SWAT team that he was a danger to the child at the moment. So they were probably thinking, we need to stop him right away before he does something to him. That's just one thing in their semi-defense, but you can literally just go and grab him. You can literally just stop. You don't need to beat him.
About 5 minutes. No, about 5 minutes before the SWAT team entered, there was an undercover officer in the coffee shop, and he was pretending to buy a coffee, and he was observing. I mean, no criminal record. Yeah. They didn't even do their due diligence to read the articles I wrote on my Substack. No history of abuse, nothing. And for them, like that was the whole point of the analyzing the commander, her video so carefully, is she never once asked, is the child safe with your husband? Once asked the grandmother, is the child safe with your family? Is what I'm being told by the social workers a lie? Right? This is just basic police work. Just get the story from all sides of the equation. But she never once did that. Right? She jumped in and said, your child is in danger based on what? A social worker? Right? She doesn't ask them, what's your side of the story? No, she doesn't. Not once,
not once they ask that. And it's the other part is the grandma's there, the whole family's there. It's like everyone is on the side of the father. So it's like, like what? Yeah. So that's
right.
And the other thing I want
to ask,
yeah, go on, keep going. I have other questions.
They have an idiot commander, but even with an idiot commander, just by having the police there looking in the window, they see that the child is in no danger. By storming the place, they are putting the child in danger. Yeah. Just by the act of storming the place and having tables overturned and things knocked over and people being forced out of their chairs and people being grabbed, that is putting the child in danger.
Definitely.
Right? Yeah. This is like I don't know what kind of morons they hire to this SWAT team. Like morons with gun licenses. Like how completely stupid do you have to be to see that, oh, they're sitting at a table, they're eating. Maybe the safest way to enter this situation is just to walk in. Right? This is like, it's just absolute idiocy. By storming the place and grabbing people and overturning tables, you're creating the danger. Yeah. Right? This is it's beyond idiotic.
Yeah, and the undercover cop one too. There's no excuse. They literally have an undercover cop there.
There was one, he was observing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was already one guy on the inside confirming Davis was there.
and they don't realize the trauma that they induce on the kids, especially, like doing that. That's just absolutely insane.
Yeah, so either they don't realize how they traumatized Davis's 3 daughters, or they do realize and they did it anyway. If they did know what they were doing, they were three children unarmed with anything except for a little video camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
They knew what they were doing ahead of time, that by storming the place, it would cause trauma to the kids. The kids started screaming the minute they started overturning tables and storming the place. The kids were screaming. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That puts people in the subhuman category, not of the robot, an emotionless order follower. That puts them in the subhuman category of psychopath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Animal.
I experienced a lot
Right?
during COVID. Like when COVID happens, and then people are like cheering on like forced vaccines, forced lockdowns, closing down shops, and I'm like, my goodness. And the masking too, the masking little kids. That's just, yeah, that was just insane. And the other thing I want to ask about the about the Theo Lim case, like how did it like exactly start? Because you're saying that the that the surgery was the trisectomy, or I think that's how you pronounce it, the tube that was unnecessary, and
Or
also
the tracheostomy.
yeah, that's how you pronounce it. Okay.
Yeah, so the family first approached me when I was speaking at a rally at Vancouver City Hall. That was when I did my first speech, that same place I did my first speech in 2021, talking about mRNA changing DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me the story about how their son was able to breathe, but was being kept on a ventilator, and how the doctors weren't allowing the child to off the ventilator. And so I looked into the subject further. I looked at the video they had of their child breathing. They had the medical records at that point. So I went through the medical record and I said, this is totally unreasonable. The child at 10 months of age was able to breathe on his own for half an hour without any problems. How come he's 16 months old and they won't even let him off the ventilator for 10 minutes? What the hell is going on, right? And going through the medical records, 2 consecutive x-rays showing the lungs were overinflated. The medical records also showed the pressures at which they were setting the ventilator. And I looked at the pressure and I said, these are adult pressures. And the child's been on these adult pressures since 10 months of age, and now he's 16 months old. Are they trying to damage his lungs? Are they trying to kill him?
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that's right. They even had x-rays proving that the lungs were overinflated. What kind of a moron pediatrician doesn't turn down the air pressures on the ventilator after 2 x-rays say the lungs are overinflated? Yeah, just absolute madness. So then at that point, Davis and his wife, they didn't have any visitation. Well, they only had mild visitation restrictions, that they were only allowed to go see Theo during certain hours on certain days of the week. So on one of the scheduled visits with Theo's mother, I went together to see Theo with my own eyes. So, at first I wanted to examine Theo. And then as soon as I approached, he started crying, right? So I thought, oh, it must be the kind of the way the doctors approach patients. There's a certain mannerism, and he saw that right away. He's like, oh, this is a doctor. Started crying, right? So then I thought, there's no reason I need to I can examine him from afar if there's no need to cause distress. So then I just watched him interact with his mother and the nurses. And, for the way that certain doctors described Theo in his medical records, it's totally incongruent with reality, right? And that goes for the ventilator thing as well, that he is completely dependent on the ventilator. Absolute. He was able to breathe without the ventilator for 6 months. Yeah. So then the question is, what is motivating this medical abuse, being forced to stay on a ventilator? Is it money? I don't know. That's my first suspect, is that The doctors don't necessarily get paid more, but the hospital certainly gets paid more if somebody's on a ventilator, because the average cost, but this was back in 2001, 2002, when I did an ICU rotation at Vancouver General Hospital. The cost back then for an ICU patient was about $30,000 a day. And the biggest cost is the ventilator. So assuming a ventilator is about half of that, $15,000 a day, for every day that a patient is kept on a ventilator, at least that's $15,000 a day more money going into the hospital. Now, for a pediatric patient at Children's Hospital, I don't know if that's $30,000 or 25,000. I don't know how much more than an adult ventilator the Children's Hospital gets paid out of tax dollars, but there was something abnormal about how Theo was forced to stay on a ventilator unnecessarily. And then after months of ventilation, if somebody is needing to stay on a ventilator for a long time, another 6 months or a year or more, then what they try to do to try and minimize ventilator problems is use a tracheostomy. And that's a tube that goes straight into the trachea, bypassing the vocal cords. And that's for long-term ventilation. So that's somebody who they don't see becoming independent from a ventilator for years. And that's what they did. That was the surgery on his neck that the parents never consented to, that the social workers and doctors went ahead with anyway. And in a child, that's particularly a problem because the tracheostomy interrupts development of speech.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically so he was able to breathe, and then you said that you witnessed 30 minutes of him breathing fine without even after the and then this was before the
I didn't witness this. This was before.
Okay.
Yeah, this is before parents made contact. At 16 months, when I went to visit him, the nurses wouldn't let him off the ventilator.
Okay.
Right, and this goes to another thing. If Children's Hospital is doing a 4651B, that's a conspiracy, criminal code conspiracy,
Mm-hmm.
for profit, turning the ventilator pressures up to too high increases the chances that the child being ventilated at an excessive pressure will never be able to get off the ventilator.
Mm-hmm.
And so how that works is you can imagine the trachea as a hallway that has arches on it. Those are cartilage arches. And the cartilage arches of the trachea hold the trachea open while you are inhaling. Because if you suck air in, it creates a negative pressure inside the trachea. And if there wasn't cartilage arches to hold the trachea open, the trachea would collapse, right? Because the lungs are generating too much suction, the negative pressure, and the delay from the air coming in through the nose and mouth into the arch means that there's a negative pressure inside the opening of the trachea.
Mm-hmm.
So by turning the air pressures up too high on a ventilator, what it does is it overinflates the trachea, which thins out the cartilage. Because instead of a normal-sized trachea that's just right for that child's age, you have an overinflated trachea where the arches have been where there's air being forced in and stretching the balloon and stretching the cartilage till it's thinner. So that when finally they try to stop the ventilator, as soon as the lungs start generating their own negative pressure, instead of relying on the positive air pressure from the ventilator forcing air in, when the lungs are trying to suck air in, all of a sudden the arches collapse and the trachea collapses. And now that lung and trachea system is no longer able to suck air in. The only way to get air into that system is through air being forced in through the outside. So in other words, a permanently ventilator-dependent patient. And that condition of the trachea is called tracheomalacia, where the cartilage is too thin to hold the trachea open.
Wow. And now he has that breathing tube inside, like comes out of his neck. And how does that like work with the condition that he had, or the results of the ventilator. Like, I'm just trying to wrap my head around. So that was when he's on the ventilator. Now he's not on a ventilator, but he's on the tube.
Well, I don't know what his current status is. Do they put him on a ventilator at night or for a certain number of hours per day? I don't know. But
Okay.
from his ability to walk and play outside without a ventilator, he doesn't need a ventilator. Period.
And yeah, so they did the yeah, so, yeah, definitely. And so they did the surgery on him against the parents' wishes. And then a question I was going to ask, before that surgery and after, was there a change in how many hours that the parents can see him, or when?
Yeah, the parent continuously restricted by the BC Children's Hospital from visiting, and particularly the mother was restricted from breastfeeding Theo.
Wow, like what kind of
right? And as a compromise, they would feed Theo breast milk through the feeding tube that they also did a surgery for. But again, it's not clear whether or not they actually fed Theo the breast milk that the mother was pumping dutifully every day.
Okay, and then the breathing tube. I mean, the feeding tube, was that also, again, that's also part of the surgery that they did not want. And the other question, yeah, basically, I'm
that was another thing that the parents.
Yeah, the parents didn't want that. And
Mhm.
what was the government's? Did they state the reasons why they have to do that, or they just went along and did whatever? And the other thing is, Davis.
Well,
said, yeah, Davis said.
the alleged reason was he was growing. He wasn't gaining weight at the expected rate. Right? And I don't know how idiotic these pediatricians are. Theo is a TRAF7 gene variant. So his genetics are different from every other child except for another TRAF7 child. So the fact that they were using the growth curve and the weight gain curves for children who are genetically like you and me, it's absolutely idiotic. What the hell is wrong with these pediatricians, right? As long as you're observing some growth, you don't know what the normal growth curve is for a TRAF7 child, right? But because he wasn't following the growth curve of genetically different children, they said he wasn't growing fast enough, he wasn't getting enough calories being breastfed and eating normally, so they had to insert a feeding tube.
Wow. But yeah, so one thing, if you can clarify just for the audience what, and for me, what TRAF7 is exactly. And also,
it's a gene abnormality. It's one of it's one of thousands of different non-lethal genetic variations of human beings.
Okay, and then
Maybe there's even millions.
Yeah, and then
The only ones that medicine knows about are the ones that need extra care.
Yeah, and then the other one, other question is, so if they're just looking at the growth curve, like, what about the actual condition of the child? If he's fine and happy, who cares if he's not growing?
That seems to be something that children's hospital doctors completely ignored.
Wow. Yeah.
Right, and they've done things to interrupt his development using a tracheostomy, which interrupts his development of speech. They've damaged his social development by restricting visitation with his sisters and his mother and father. They've interrupted his normal development of lungs that can suck air in and blow air out, just like lungs do every day for normal people. They've interrupted the development of that as well. So I don't know from what angle anything that the children's hospital doctors have done can be considered anything but abuse.
Yeah.
Pure abuse.
No, I definitely
Interrupt the child's lung development, interrupt the child's social development, ability to speak.
Yeah, definitely seems like that. Because and going back to how they just look at the numbers instead of that child themselves. So my brother, so he had a newborn, literally last week, and then they wanted to give the doctors wanted to give the kid a vitamin K shot. They did a blood test, like they're saying, oh, he's low on vitamin K or whatever. But my brother says no, he doesn't want to do that. Maybe just take a while, and then when he took him home, they did they did a test again. They said, okay, the number's okay, so you don't need a vitamin K shot. So I'm like, so they were
Hmm.
initially they were scaring the parents by saying some random number on a blood test means you have to take this injection, and then and then the parents didn't want to give him
Hmm.
anything, and then a day or two later they're like, all right, the number says it's good now. It's like that kind of just reminds me of the Theo
Yeah.
case with the growth curve, as opposed to if he's breathing fine. I think the big one is breathing fine, and the other part is 30 minutes he can breathe without a ventilator. Breathing is pretty important. I don't like, it's kind of like in the water. If you can't breathe underwater,
Yeah.
you're gonna drown like right away. There's no, oh, if you can breathe 30 minutes underwater, then
Mhm.
it means you're a fish, as opposed to yeah. So that
Yeah.
no, that's kind of what I mean. Yeah. So again, the whole thing is
Yeah.
absolutely wild. Yeah.
Your brother's going to be interested.
Okay.
He's a respiratory therapist.
Oh no, this is a different
This
brother. A
child is
different
being
brother.
ventilated at 20.
No, I have six
Oh,
brothers. Yeah,
okay.
if you can say
Okay.
that again. Yeah, so I have six
A
brothers,
different
but the one
brother.
that's interested
Okay.
is the respiratory therapist. But he's also was skeptical
Yeah.
about the situation, because he was thinking something serious must have happened, because he's kind of like, he just doesn't see how this scenario could be taken to this extreme. So if you can talk about the pressures as well and so on. Just go on.
Yeah, he'll be interested to know that the baby at 10 months of age, all the way through till, I guess, when they were discharged from hospital, sometime when he was maybe about 2 years old, was being ventilated at 20 and 10,
Mm-hmm.
20 and 10 vent pressures.
Okay.
So your brother will find that interesting as a respiratory therapist,
Okay, so I'll let him know.
especially if he knows a bit about tracheomalacia.
Okay, yeah, I'll tell him that's a 20 and 10. And again, you had the X-rays and so
20
on
and
to
10.
prove this. Is this all documented in did you write an article on this documenting it as well, or is that?
Yeah, that was the article. I think that was the second article on Theo that showed the X-ray reports.
Okay, I will see. Okay, I'll have to look.
Let me see if it was the first or second ventilator.
Yeah.
No, it was the first article. I think it was the first article.
Search X-rays. X-rays.
Towards the end of the first article.
So update on baby Theo, medical doctor who reads X-rays as a specialty. Theo's medical status on March 13th. Hospital murders and attempted murder. Emergency post X-rays. No, so it must be the top three. So it's either the hospital murders and attempted murder, or Theo's medical status on March 13th, or update on Theo, on baby Theo part 3.
It's actually the third article. Yeah, part 3.
Okay.
Update on baby Theo part 3. And right after the photos of the nursing staff is the chest X-ray, September 15th, 2023. And it's just straight. It's the
Okay.
diagnostic results.
Okay, this one here, X-ray.
I don't know why they blocked that report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 17. Yeah. So they blocked out the report. Yeah. So 17 month with tricectomy. Again, am I pronouncing it right?
Tracheostomy.
Tracheostomy. I'm the worst at pronouncing words imaginable. Takes me a while. Anyways, please assess for pneumonia, fluid overload. Comparison chest radiograph. Yeah, it says here.
Oh,
Please
no,
assess
this is
for pneumonia, fluid overload. And is there actual X-rays, or this is just the reports? Because I'm scrolling down.
No. These are just the medical. They don't show the pictures.
Okay.
But hyperinflation is that the actual one?
You wrote.
Yeah, this is it.
So it says, I hope the doctors would have started to wean baby Theo off the ventilator by reducing the ventilator pressures, so he could learn to breathe on his own. And Yeah, there's hyperventilation. It says
Yeah, so
at least 2
the
X-rays showing
finding.
hyperinflation. Okay, I see that.
Yeah. So comparison is the chest radiograph from September 12th. So they have 2 consecutive chest X-ray. Oh, is it September 15th and September 12th, 3 days apart. The tracheostomy tube, so that's the ventilator tube, centrally positioned in trachea, unchanged, so it's stable. Lungs are hyperinflated, similar to prior. So both on September 12th and September 15th, the lungs are overinflated.
Yeah. Okay, this one right here, number 12. I just want to see on the paper right here. Where is it written? Where is it written hyper, despite the fact that there were 2 I'm just trying to see on the screenshots. Where is it exactly? On the TRAF gene, TRAF7 gene variant, double outlet. Which one? Can you see my?
No, that's the rest of the console note.
Is it below?
Oh, hang on, let me. I'm not
accessing
in a window right now.
How are you? I just wanted to get to the.
I know I've had to turn off your video just for the network.
Okay, yeah, no worries. So basically, yeah, I'll read this here. As of September 22nd, 2023, these pediatrics reports note says there's no plans to wean a ventilator from settings IPAP 20, EPAP 10. Yeah, that's the 2010. That's what he meant by 2010. Despite the fact there were 2 chest X-rays from September 12th and 15th, they were showing overinflated. Okay. Yeah. So without signs of increased ICP. It says no signs on the eye. I'm trying to. I could send you. I'll send you a link if you can maybe open it up on yours, and then if you find just exactly where, just so I could read it, just because when I sent it to my brother.
No. So you have the exact spot. So there's the scan, but yeah, you show the first page where it says consult notes pediatric, diagnostic results chest X-ray. You just show from that point down, that first scanned picture down, and he can read it. Okay. Right.
Which one is the consult? I just want to know if we're on the same page. I'm just trying to see if we're on the same page. Where's the consult page?
The picture starts off. Says consult notes pediatrics in a box. It's the first scanned picture.
Oh, consult. Okay, there it is. There's a diagnosis reason
for update on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then okay, lungs are hyperinflated. There it is. There it is, guys. There it is, guys. Lungs are hyperinflated. So you literally nailed it right on there, and I don't know how anyone could look at this and say anything otherwise. So they put on ventilator, and this is after how many months? You said 16 months, or how many months of ventilator?
So this is 17 months, 17th. Oh. Yeah, basically since birth.
Okay, so 17 months with trisectomy. Yeah,
tracheostomy too.
Tracheostomy, yeah, tracheostomy. Okay, so 17 months with tracheostomy, and so he's 17 months old, or he's 17 months with that, and he's on a ventilator.
17 months old. Okay. 17 months old.
Okay, 17 months old. Yes, and then he's had it for. So the first 6 months he didn't have any ventilator. Is that true? So the first
No. He's had. I'm pretty sure he was put on a ventilator right after birth.
Oh, okay. So he's had it for a long time.
Abnormality.
And then when was the surgery?
That's why it was such a big deal that.
Yeah. So the question.
I think that was sometime after I first saw him at 16 months. Was the surgery for the tracheostomy tube, the hole straight into the trachea.
Oh, okay, so 16 months after.
When I first saw him, he was 16 months old.
So when he got it, when he was 16 months.
16 months after birth, that's when I first saw him.
Okay, so 17 months old with this. So then basically lungs are hyperinflated. This is, and it says here, this is with the tube inside. Okay, that's interesting. So this is after the surgery.
Yeah.
And the lungs are hyperinflated. Would that be an issue with the surgery, or is it, or do you think it's just from the ventilator before that?
No, that's surgery is just on the neck. They just put a hole in the neck. That's all they do in the surgery.
Okay, yeah.
The ventilator is just set way too high.
Yeah, because
20 and 10 is ridiculous. Those are adult pressures.
Okay, and then I do want to ask. We'll do some live because again, this is just for me to.
First seen. He was videoed. He was videoed by his parents, breathing on his own for half an hour. that was at 10 months of age. So
Okay.
all the articles and stuff I've posted about Theo, that's 6 months after he was first witnessed and videotaped, not just by Davis, by nurses as well, breathing on his own.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask Grok AI the
And
IP820.
documented.
Is this adult ventilation? Ventilator.
IPAP is
Refer to in these values are measured. I just want to see what, because again I'm trying to wrap my head around. These settings are typical for adult ventilator support. Okay, even Grok AI confirms it. So yep. So Grok AI confirms that the 2010 is adult ventilator support, and it gives the specific technical details of it. So and it even says a setting of 20 centimeter H2O is relatively high. It suggests that patients may need significant support to move air into their lungs, possibly due to conditions like respiratory muscle weakness, and so on. But again, and he's a tiny 1 year old. Yeah. So and then
for an adult,
yeah.
you use the minimum pressures necessary to get adequate oxygenation. That's all.
Yeah.
So if an adult is fine on 10 and 5, you leave them on 10 and 5. If an adult is fine with their pneumonia on 8 and 0, you just leave them on 8 and 0. If their oxygens are fine, you just leave them that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't use any more pressure than is absolutely necessary to get a decent oxygenation above 85, right? So for 20 and 10 on a child,
Yeah.
you're freaking out of your mind.
No, definitely. And then also just for reference for the audience, so the 20, the first number is for the pressure in centimeters of H2O. I think that's not. Anyways, that's the inhalation. The second number is the exhalation. So breathing in is the 20 pressure, and then the 10 pressure is out. So an 8 and 0 would be a 0 pressure, like exhaling. So yeah, again, that's just for my own technical.
So the EPAP, the expiratory pressure, is sometimes people's lungs collapse while they're exhaling. So it never stops the pressure. So even when you're not inhaling, there's 10 centimeters of water pressure pushing air into the lungs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna increase my desk.
And then when the machine decides you have to breathe, it doubles the pressure from the constant pressure of 10 to 20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grasp it now. Yeah, but the big one is it literally is adult pressure, and I just want to see what would be.
Yeah.
I'll ask it right now, Grok. What is adequate for a adequate pressure for a 2-month-old? Oh, I mean, let's say 10-month-old. Actually, and the other thing is that pressure that they were given. Is there a way, like, do you know how long they were on it for, or is that just the what default they had the entire time, and what about since birth all the way there? Is there numbers for that?
From what I read for like the boxes of medical records, they never changed the pressure.
Holy.
Like every time I read the respiratory therapist notes in the boxes of medical records, it's always 10, 20 and 10, 20 and 10, 20 and 10. Mm-hmm. They didn't even try 18 and 5.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I don't know how much stupider people could get.
Yeah, and then
like literally, a respiratory therapist is like, "Oh, this kid's been on 20 and 10 for a while. How about we try 18 and 5, maybe for an hour, see how he does?"
Yeah, and yeah.
I mean, like
Grok is saying a starting point would be 10 and 5. That's what Grok is saying.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what kind of a moron? What group of morons can go to team meetings every week, right? Because team meetings, if you have a complicated case child, ICU patient, whatever kind of patient that's complicated, that's in the hospital for a long time, you have weekly team meetings. And the team meetings go through the patient's condition from head to toe. So what kind of a moron goes to a team meeting week after week? Oh, the child's stable on 20 and 10s, child stable on 20 and 10, child stable on 2010. Child is growing. How about we try lowering the pressure to like 18 and 5 this week? See how he does. Just trial it for an hour.
Wow.
Like, what kind of a moron goes to these team meetings over and over again and is such a moron that they don't get bored of saying 20 and 10, 20 and 10, 20 and 10 every single damned week? You're literally dealing with a lump of coal, like a potato for a brain.
Mm-hmm.
They just do the same thing. They don't think, oh, well, maybe the patient might eat better if there wasn't as much air pressure in their lungs because it'll leave a little bit more space for their stomach. Yeah. How about we try 15 and 5?
Yeah. And
just for an hour to see how it goes. We're not going to do anything dangerous. We're just going to try it for an hour. And if it's okay, then we'll talk about it next week that, whoa, there's been a development. We went from 20 and 10 to 15 and 5.
Mm-hmm. And
see Children's Hospital.
Or even periods of time without ventilator, because you said that the 30 minutes breathing fine without a ventilator isn't the whole goal of like getting to breathe fine without it? Like, what are they? Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
like, what the hell is wrong with BC Children's Hospital's respiratory therapist department that they just keep documenting the same thing over and over again and never once think that, hey, maybe we should change things as the child grows and recovers from their birth.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Yeah, These people shouldn't even have high diplomas.
No, definitely. And again, and have you had experience with, because I heard a lot from the news and so on about during COVID that they're putting a bunch of like seniors on ventilators or just anyone's on ventilators. Is that similar to the Theo Lim case? And because it seems to be like around the same time frame. And is that
yeah? So it wasn't even an elderly. The most egregious situation that I saw the medical records for was a 46-year-old. Mm-hmm. Talking, conscious, able to answer questions, put on a ventilator by the ER doctor. That was Dr. Craig Domke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Patient's oxygen saturations were stable, unchanged from the rural hospital that they got transferred from, stable throughout the airplane flight to Edmonton, documented as being stable by the nurses, and all of a sudden, moron emergency doctor, Dr. Craig Domke, decides he has to intubate the patient and put him on a ventilator. Mm-hmm. And so this is where it crosses the line into psychopathy, right? And I don't make this accusation lightly. Dr. Craig Domke told the patient, do you want to make a last phone call? And he made one last phone call to his wife. What kind of a sick psychopath, sick subhuman doctor tells the patient who's able to talk to call his wife for his last words?
Wow. This is yeah.
And he calls his wife, and his last words to his wife is like, they're gonna put me under.
Yeah, that's just yeah, that's pretty much murder. I don't know what else to say about it. Because it's like...
Yeah, no, and then also, 2 days after being put on a ventilator, he died of blood clots in the lungs.
Yeah, and what about the patient? Like,
46 years old.
But, yeah. But, like, couldn't he have told them, like, again, he's probably, like, also brainwashed. You could have just told them, you know what? If you're telling me to give one last phone call, I'm going to just leave.
No.
Yeah,
I don't need a ventilator.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. Mm-hmm. Just give me this oxygen bag and I'll just keep breathing on the supplemental oxygen. Mm-hmm. Maybe I could have done that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the culture of the day is to trust your doctor.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. And then I see, so here on my screen, this is the video. I'll see if I can send you a screenshot so you don't need to pop up the video. But here's the video of Davis Lim actually, yes, this one's actually taking Theo Lim. This is, so I was surprised it was actually caught on film. This was before the Amber Alert. Or this was the reason for the Amber Alert. And one of the guys says that yeah, he said to the social worker that he's here to see Leo for his 2 hours, and they kind of were like not letting him, and then he just took it, and I think he either punched or slapped one of the workers, and then ran away with it.
No. So what happened was the social worker manager. So he was in the middle of his visit with his daughters with Theo, and the social worker manager stormed in and said, "The visit's over."
Wow,
That's the story.
that's okay.
She canceled the visit mid-visit because I guess he was taking some family photos from outside the social work offices. So he was taking some photos outside, maybe with Rena before the video started. And because some workers who were basically peering through the blinds at his family is like, "Oh, you are taking photos. You're not allowed to do that. It says that on the restrictions. You're not allowed to take photos." And Theo and Davis, being good natured, is like, "Okay, well, can we still visit? We weren't taking photos inside. We were just taking photos outside. But okay, can we still have our visit?" And the lower level social workers were like, "Oh, okay, fine. You guys can start your visit, but we're watching you," kind of type of thing. And then, yeah, a few minutes into their visit, the actual head social worker, I think that's the old woman that's pictured in the second article, actually stormed in and just canceled the visit. She called the foster parents to come back to the social work office and pick up Theo. So that was currently in progress when Davis picked up Theo and then ran off.
Yeah, and yeah, so
The transfer
so I see the photo
and back to the foster.
Yeah, so I see the photo there. So so he has this machine there. Would that be some sort of oxygen tank, or what is this one? Or he has a tube there connected.
Yeah, so that one's a ventilator. That's a ventilator and or a CPAP and or a BiPAP machine. That's one of the machines that keeps pressure going into the lungs. So remember how I was talking about the constant pressure that the ventilator settings are on? They might have him on some constant pressure that he's supposed to stay on that machine for most of the day. It's not exactly a ventilator. It's a little bit less than a ventilator, but it basically does a similar thing to the ventilator.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so it's similar to a ventilator, but not exactly. And that
it keeps constant pressure in the lungs.
Okay, it just keeps constant pressure, and that's, and again, that might be due to the high ventilator that they pressure that they like forced on the kid for a while. That's just my brainstorming. And this is connected to his
well,
neck.
I mean, if the lungs are able to breathe on its own, you shouldn't have constant pressure, because all that does is overinflate things, and it prevents the lungs from developing the elastic tissue that the lungs can contract when you exhale.
Okay.
Because that's a very important function, is that when you inflate the lungs, that when you relax, that the lungs have the elasticity to exhale and push out all the air you just breathed in a second ago. So keeping, a constant external pressure for extended periods of time while lungs are developing as they would be in a child, it probably interferes with the development of elastic tissue.
No,
and he won't have
definitely. I wouldn't even say probably. I think definitely. Even for adults, if you're taking away just the function of muscles, they weaken out. It's similar to like astronauts if they're in space for a long time. Their muscles go to mush, so they need to like retrain to just to go walking.
It's deconditioning.
Yeah, so that's one thing I could not grasp. How can especially ventilator and so on, like how could they put people on for that long, especially a little kid that's growing? And the other part is you can see all the social
So
workers.
I don't know how much.
Yeah. Go on. Go on. I was just gonna say they're all wearing masks. All the social workers.
Yeah, I don't know how much social work I don't know how much the social work department gets paid per day of care for a high needs child, but something just doesn't. Like, if a child doesn't need a ventilator, they can breathe on it. And the entire time I was with the child at my house, at the playground, at the coffee shop, Theo was breathing fine, inhaling and exhaling without a ventilator. So reasons to continue to keep Theo on a ventilator are highly suspicious. How much does social work charge the government, every taxpayer, for daily ventilator charge? How much does the ventilator company make per daily charge?
I'll ask Grok right now. How much does the government charge for daily ventilator patients? Or yeah, just keep it like that. Yeah, so that's a.
It'll probably
yeah,
Medicaid charge.
Yeah,
right.
I just want to
That's
see
the
what
U.S.
number is. Yeah.
insurance for too poor.
So, reports suggest payments around 39 to 40,000 per case of. Would that be yearly or would that be? How much per year? How much?
No.
Per day? How much cost per day?
40,000.
Yeah.
40 years a bargain.
Okay. Just want to see what cost per day would be. Yeah, but the medical care costs. Again, put these numbers in. These are per admission. 39, 40,000 per admission. During COVID-19, there's a 20% add-on, so 47,000, and so on. This is per admission. I don't know what that. This is, and it's about 10 to 16 days for for they call it 96 hours. So 96 hours, yeah. So we're gonna cost it. So baseline, 10 days is 39,000. 10 days, so 3,900. With COVID-19, $4,700 per day. For a 16-day stay. Would be 39,000 or 47,000 if you label it as COVID. Holy, 3,000 a day, 2,500 a day on ventilator. And
wow. So you know what? I think maybe the American system, with its competition between private providers, is actually able to provide ventilator care for cheaper than it is in Canada.
Yeah, maybe.
Huh.
Okay, what about for Canada?
Hmm?
Yeah, but even then, it's like ventilator. All it is just helping you breathe in and out. Like, I cannot believe it's that expensive. What about in Canada?
Well, the big cost of ventilators in the ICU is daily care by the respiratory therapist.
And so when you saw him at the coffee shop, did he have that machine there, that ventilator-like machine, on his neck, or was he fine?
No, he didn't have. No, he didn't have it on his neck at my house, in the playground, or at the coffee shop. The machine was in the car.
Okay, and then for how many hours at once or how many total hours did you witness or assume, or can like
I think maybe about an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
Okay, so an hour and a half without any of that.
Length of time is actually not that important.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not actually the length of time that matters. It's the activity level that's the most important, right? Like an hour of watching a child who's not moving is not. It doesn't tell you that much, as opposed to like 10 minutes of a child playing outside and walking around. That tells you a lot more than an hour. It's not necessarily length of time, it's activity level during breathing.
And at the playground,
that's the most.
And at the playground, he can run around and go actually play in the playground, or he can actually do that?
No, he couldn't run.
He can't run, but
he couldn't run.
But he can walk.
That's developmental delay.
Okay.
Yeah, he can walk. He stumbles a bit when he's walking, but he can walk. Right. So that suggests to me that's also another sign, because he doesn't have any abnormalities of his leg that I know of. He has one abnormality of one arm, but to me that suggests delay. Something is delaying his progress, because at almost 3 years old, he should be running around, walking unassisted, right? So,
but his brain
whether
and intellect is fine.
Attached to a vent.
Okay, and brain-wise, is he fine? Is he just a normal
Yeah,
kid?
I can't.
Okay, because what's interesting is my
curiosity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say my brother's
curiosity level seems normal.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because I have an older brother that's mentally
and then
handicapped.
memory seems normal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I have an older brother that's mentally handicapped.
So curiosity seems normal.
And, no, yeah, and so,
it's hard to tell in children, right? You can have children who are delayed for the first 5 years of their life, and then all of a sudden everything just goes back to normal, or it goes way over normal, right? You have some speech delayed children. They don't speak till they're 6 years old, and then all of a sudden at 6 years old they're speaking full sentences reciting paragraphs, right? Every now and then you get,
Yeah.
occasionally geniuses who would be developmentally delayed by any normal measurements until 5 or 6 years of age, and then all of a sudden they start doing calculus. Who knows, right? It's
Yeah. No, definitely.
the only thing is
Yeah.
to see that they have the capability, right? And it's very important not to prejudge when it comes to children, that there's still things happening that we don't even know about.
Yeah, definitely. And the other part is like, if just to notice if the kid's happy, like you have to always account for if any intervention you do, if they're gonna be less happy, then that's gonna be the wrong intervention. Similar to so in it, I think you mentioned in one of your articles, but also in the video, the mom mentions that before the restrictions on visiting him, the baby would say "mama" all the time, and now she doesn't. He doesn't say "mama" anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like
that's evidence of a neglectful environment, that the foster care and the social workers, they are providing a neglected environment for the child.
Yeah, and
Child abuse.
no, it is. It is. The neglect is a big one, especially now. Even what they do with the daughters as well, like just separate them, and you could see the daughters, like they're the ones following after the father. It's like you could tell they want to be with him, even when he's running away with the Theo. And it's like, does anybody not grasp this, or is the masks affecting their brain? And I want to see the video. If I'm on the video right now, I'm gonna zoom in. If you zoom in to the building, you can actually see him running from a mile away. Like, okay, there's the. I'm trying to see. I might be able to zoom in and see what we could find. Okay, I can't zoom in on the Telegram, but I might make a crop out the video and just zoom in, so you could see him. Okay, there's the. Okay, I think he runs away from the van. I'm not sure. You might be delayed. Okay, then he takes him from the van. Okay, there he is running away from around the. I'm not sure. Is that a school? What building is that? Looks like a school. Okay.
That's a social work building, and and there's a school, church next door.
Okay. Yeah, and there is him running away. And yeah, this is and let's see if I see that lady that. Where's the lady? The one, and you can also see some of the police ones and people interacting. It's like they literally don't care that they're just taking away, like splitting up his family, and then she also gets arrested. So, have you talked to the wife recently or no? Since the incident?
Not recently. I don't have any phone.
Oh yeah.
I don't have any phone.
So they took
Vancouver
your phone
police
as well.
Stole 2 phones from the scene.
So when at the SWAT team, did
They stole 2 phones from the scene.
They still, yeah. Did they do anything physical to you, like besides just holding you down? Did they actually hurt you in any way?
Yeah, they pushed me against the wall, and then they lifted, and they didn't attack me, other than lifting me without my permission out of my seat and then forcing me against a wall.
Oh,
yeah, no.
And they handcuffed you too, or no? Did they handcuff you, or no?
Just unbelievable. Yeah, they handcuffed me, held me for about an hour, put me in the paddy wagon. Interesting thing about the paddy, the van cage I was put in, it's about twice the size of the cage they put Theo's mom in. So I don't know what was up with that. But and then they drove me about 15 meters down the block, and then they let me out.
Wow. That's intense. Yeah. Are they going to give you the phone back? Or,
yeah. So then the accusations, they said. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I gave them instructions to return the phone to a drop address, and they haven't done that yet. But like, I don't care one way or the other. The absolute insanity was when they handcuffed me. They said, "You're under arrest for kidnapping." I said, "Who did I kill?" Couldn't answer it. And they're like, "You're under arrest for assault." I'm like, "Who did I assault? Who did I assault? Give me a name. Show me who I assaulted." And then they don't know what to say. "You're under arrest for obstructing a police officer." And I said, "No. I haven't stopped you guys from doing any of your idiotic things. When have I obstructed you from anything that you're doing?" And they can't answer any of this, right? And they kept demanding. I was like, no, I'm giving my first name, Daniel, and that's it. They're like, well, you have to give a date. I was like, no, you assaulted me, you handcuffed me, you're making accusations against me. Absolutely not. And they're like, well, we're informing you're under arrest. I said, no, I have absolutely refused to be arrested. I refuse to be any form that you can arrest me. Right. And they keep repeating the same things like you. And then the last part is like, you have to give us an address. I said, no, you just assaulted me and kept me confined without my consent for over an hour. No, I'm not giving you my address. And they're like, well, then we're going to handcuff you again. I was like, go ahead. Right. I'm still not giving you my address. And then they gave up. Absolute morons.
Yeah, well, but they stole your phone as well. So they took the phone and then they were doing that to you, or did they take your phone after the questioning?
Yeah, no, yeah, they yeah.
Yeah, this is just
anyhow.
Yeah, and then the saddest part is they're arresting the mother.
Absolutely, like, theft.
Yeah, and you can see the mother right
There's
here,
no
handcuffed.
It's the mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they put
so
her,
that would. To me, that would be an indication of sadism, right? So the officer in charge of that situation, which appears to be that dark-haired woman, she is doing that out of spite to inflict distress upon the mother.
Yeah.
There's no reason to do that.
And now the
right?
mother's in a hospital.
She hasn't tried to run away from you. She hasn't done it. She was in hospital for, I think, a day or two. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, good thing.
Anyhow.
She's back out then. Because and now, and then Davis says that he can't see the wife or the daughters or Theo until December. Theo maybe never. I'm not sure how that works. But he's not allowed to see the wife or daughters.
How it works is they will try and intimidate and coerce you into signing an agreement. So I don't know what exactly, like I still have to meet with Davis. I'll probably meet with him later this weekend.
Okay.
But I've just been very sick. After.
Yeah, I would.
After that break into my vehicle, and then 2 days later, coming down with 5 different illnesses all at once. To me, there's a 1 in 10 million chance that was accidental, right? That was an intentional poisoning that I suffered.
Wow. Yeah.
Only time I've ever.
Yeah, I think you wrote about
my
that.
life.
Yeah, you wrote about that. I just want to, and then I just want to see this. So were you put in a similar like this? They had this is a van. This is like they didn't just put her in a police car. They put her inside of like a little cage. And then they close another door around her. You see that?
A little cage in a van.
Yeah, they put in a little cage in a van where she can't.
So my van was similar, except my cage was twice the size.
What? Well, yeah. This is absolutely. Yeah. Has CBC written about you since? That's another question I want to check. Because CBC is the CBC, like they get taxpayer money to literally terrorize humanity. Let's see, CBC Daniel Nagase. Let's see. They probably said that you abducted the kid. Let's see what the. They didn't mention. Okay, there's no mention of you about that. The only thing is on your GoFundMe. I mean on your Substack. So literally, the CBC is not talking about the government abducting Theo, and they don't mention you. But then when you go and do a speech saying that there's increase in stillbirths, and that's another thing if you can illustrate that, and then they do a giant hit piece on you. Right now, there's literally no mention of Theo Lim and you in any article. Okay, this is from.
Oh
yeah. There's
one of the things is when the government loses an interaction, or the police lose interaction, that in they're the losers, right? Yeah. The mainstream media's job is to hide it as best as they could, to preserve the image of the police or the government agencies involved.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
talk about it.
Yeah, and if you can get in contact with Davis Lim, I think, because again, I do want to use my channel also just to, as a speakerphone for you guys, and if he wants to get on as well, just to talk about his story. Because so I have the article right here. This is there's the baby right there with a bunch of tubes on there. Is that the is the ventilator the thingy? Is that what is connected to it? This is a breathing tube.
Yeah, that's
airway. Okay.
Face, yeah.
So, and this was Vancouver Sun, BC Children Ministries overrules parents order surgery to treat boy's rare condition. So surgery went ahead over their objections because doctors had applied to the Ministry of Children and Family Development for an interim custody order. So basically, you can't even decide what happens to your own kid.
Yeah. So so the doctors asked social work to intervene with an interim custody order, and the parties who screwed up, who actually I think it's probably intentional, was the first set of lawyers that Davis and his wife hired. That first lawyer, when it was in the courtroom, and the judge said, the ministry is taking temporary custody of Theo. And he said that to the defense lawyer. The lawyer hired by Davis and his wife should have said, no, the parents firmly refuse that. Mm-hmm. But instead, the lawyer that they paid, that they hired, said nothing, right? And in a courtroom, silence is acquiescence. So basically, their own lawyer consented on their behalf for Theo to go under Ministry of Social Work custody.
Their own lawyer did
that.
That's just...
this whole thing. Their own lawyer did that by staying silent when the judge said the ministry is taking custody of the child, and then looking at the lawyer, and then a lawyer what to do is say no, the parents firmly refuse that. But he didn't even.
And is there a reason why the lawyer didn't do it, or was he also like told not to, or what's going on? Why is the...
Well, why lawyers have defrauded the entire freedom movement has been, I've spoke about a number of times, and I've written about a couple of times, but as far as I can deduce, it's due to the Oath to the Law Society. You look through the entire freedom movement, whether it's the JCCF or any legal party that's been fundraising off the freedom movement, not a single one has used law that could have protected, like the Canadian Human Rights Act. Mm-hmm. None have used the Rome Statute. None have used the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. None have used the ICCPR, the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. And why no lawyer would walk into a courtroom and say, mandates are a clear violation of Canada's own laws from 1976, Canadian Human Rights Act, no genetic discrimination, made me realize that the entire legal system of lawyers only exists to protect the crown. And police anyone who is going against the crown, right? Because if you actually wanted to win a case, you say, listen, this is the law. It doesn't matter what the case law is. Parliamentary law that is signed into law, has had royal assent, overrules all case law, because the parliamentary law was decided by a parliament, not by one or two judges judging a case. So it stands higher because it was endorsed by more people. And a parliamentary law theoretically has the endorsement of all Canadians. That overrules all case law. And every single one of these freedom lawyers, except for one, and this is the lawyer, his name escapes me. He wrote up a case, a federal case that used the Canadian Human Rights Act in November of 2021. Never fundraised a dime off the freedom movement, right? And he actually used Canadian charter law, the parliamentary law, in court. And he was overruled by the federal judge, Justice Gramstein, who had to use judicial notice to overrule his argument. Judicial notice is where a judge gets to make up facts. Say, not in court. So the judge basically declares what's a fact and what's not a fact. And after a judge declares that with judicial notice in Canada, then you're not allowed to bring that topic up again in court or challenge the judge's declaration of fact. The American judicial system has judicial notice as well, but if somebody's conviction or innocence is held in the balance, you're allowed to overrule judicial notice and question something. At least Americans, they have that safety outlet to their judicial notice system. But yeah, no, in Canada, there was, like in BC, there was Canadian Society for something, Society and Advancement in CSSEM. I don't know what their acronym was. One doctor, everyone's, ever since this illness and the encephalitis, I had serious brain damage. I can't recall names.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyhow, he paid $150,000 of his own money to hire Peter Gall, a lawyer, King's Counsel, so the highest level of lawyer. And all this lawyer did from his very first filing, it was sabotage. You read his filing, he says, oh, you know, he wants just a declaration that the mandates were unreasonable and whatever the judge deems reasonable. I mean, you're not even asking for restitution, like people who lost their houses, their jobs, right? Yeah. That's the bare minimum. And, you know, I told the leader, the guy who was the doctor who was leading this case by fundraising, you know, and trying to fundraise another $150,000 off the freedom movement through, you know, charity auctions and meet and greet dinners and stuff. Because Peter Gall wanted $150,000 to take, you know, to finish this case. No, just he lost again, but he wasn't even asking for any meaningful restitution to begin with. The only thing this lawyer did thoroughly was he put in all the evidence for masks and mandates being unreasonable actions, right? And when you put in and the lack of safety data. Once you put in a case with a substantial amount of evidence and it gets decided in court, you cannot try the same case or a similar case again. Any future case using the same evidence can be turned down by a subsequent judge as already having been heard. Wow. So by spending $150,000 to $300,000 on this one case by King's Counsel lawyer Peter Gall, which from its very first filing was a losing case. Now, any similar case using the same evidence cannot be filed. Or if it's filed, judges can refuse to hear it, saying that this case has already been heard.
Wow, Peter Gall. How do you spell Peter Gall? How do you spell
Gall?
Gall. Okay, because I want to find him. Because if we can find, he might be a Freemason.
No, but all lawyers are basically the same. They're there to,
like you just said,
fleece their clients.
Yeah.
On behalf of the crown, for the profit of the crown.
And basically just keep the official narrative going. No, that's... Yeah.
Anyhow, I gotta go. Okay. It's 3:30 already.
Yeah, no worries. I need to go wash.
But let's do another interview. Maybe in person.
Well,
we can meet up.
Yeah, we can meet up in person, and also maybe even meet up with Davis Lim as well. Because again, this is pretty tragic. Just to give him a shout out, and also I'll send you info on the Hive blockchain where you can post your articles, especially the ones that you're afraid might get censored or and so on. Because this one, again, Hive, I post everything there so that my stuff is there regardless of what happens. And I've had to deal with censorship on YouTube and so on. Anyways, there's a lot we can talk about. And thanks for joining. Sorry for that first hour trying to figure out when the world, all the technical stuff. All right.
No, that's all right. We've had lots of even when I'm doing interviews with the UK, I mean, there's all sorts of interference, and it just comes with the territory.
Yeah.
They usually try for about an hour and a half, and then they give up, or the networks automatically reroute around their DDoS.
Yeah.
So
what was interesting is just before you go, so I had interview with Dr. Andrew Kaufman in 2023. He's also anti-COVID stuff, but right as my stream was starting, my Livestream software started playing a random YouTube video in the background, and I had to uninstall it and install a brand new Livestream software. So, like minutes before my stream, it was as if my computer got hacked.
Yeah.
So that was that was quite interesting. All right. Anyways, thanks for joining, and any last words for the audience. But yeah, you've been good, and take care then. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, the audience. Yeah, they understand the court.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one then, Daniel, and we'll definitely meet up, and I'll send you some info. And yeah, and stay strong. Have a good one. All right.
Thanks.
Hey,
Thanks.
hey,
Good
bye,
night.
Daniel. Hey, bye. Okay. Yeah, guys. Thanks for joining. But what I'll do is I actually I don't like keep going when the guest is gone. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining. I need to go to the washroom really badly, and I may meet up with him in person for a future stream. Okay, guys, and also, guys, I'll put that right here. I'll tell Odyssey as well. Thanks for joining. I may meet up with him in a future stream. And guys, and I'll put this on Rumble as well. Yeah, anyways, guys, yeah, it was pretty epic, guys. Again, here at MES, I try to drive forward the truth and so on. So unlike other channels where I just do the same thing over and over, and I'll try to push the envelope and see what happens. And also, the other key part is, guys, post on the Hive blockchain. Keep all your text stuff that you want, or articles that you want uncensored there. And also make sure that you're try to avoid censorship, like even if you have to like limit what you say on YouTube, just to get people on the other platforms, and also serve as a outlet for others. Because again, no mainstream news articles talking about the Theo Lim case, because they literally lost the narrative just watching the video, and it's absolutely like disgusting what the government's doing. All right, guys. Anyway, guys, thanks, and have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. I really need to go to the washroom. All right, and I'm ending the stream in. Okay, looking forward to updates. Yeah, for sure, guys. And I'll go join the Telegram, watch the videos. It's like 18 minutes, another 30, 40 minutes, so an hour of the 2 videos on the case, and it's absolutely tragic and sad. Like, it's literally family separation. It's like family's taking care of the kid's fine, and the government is just following orders to, you know, the usual. Anyways, guys, have a good one, and ending the stream in 3.